Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Five Door Media Podcast. We are in season 4, where we are diving into the future of the cleaning industry through technology, software, and AI. In this season, we're talking to the minds behind the CRMs, the tech platforms, and the softwares that cleaning companies rely on. Not just about features or tools, but about the deeper shifts they're seeing across the industry. How is technology reshaping operations, customers' experiences, hiring and profitability in the real world of cleaning services? And how are these leaders building softwares that actually keeps up with those changes? Becoming our first ever two-time guest on the Five Door Media Podcast, Libby DeLucien is a fearless entrepreneur, mentor, and speaker. Okay, is a mentor and speaker who's built success in some of the most unexpected arenas, from managing a herd of Asian elephants to standing on stages in front of 50,000 people. But perhaps her most bold move came from when she pivoted from the world of live entertainment to the cleaning industry, building a $1 million professional organizing and cleaning company in just 3 years. Now, through her personal brand, her coaching work at LibbyDeLucien.com, she's helping other founders lead with clarity, courage, and confidence, all anchored in her one layer deep framework that fuses strategy with inner strength. She's also at the front edge of the innovation in this space, exploring new technologies, mentoring founders, and helping cleaning companies navigate the shifts that come with automation, software, and AI. Libby, welcome back to the
I'm
show.
happy to be here. I need like I don't know, like a special something, jacket, robe, like,
I know.
I got like
I know.
full time
That's
on
what
it.
I said.
Mhm.
I love SNL, and they have like the 5-time host club, and if you've hosted SNL 5 times, you get this gold jacket, and they're always like funny skits about who's got a jacket and who doesn't. So maybe if you're on the show 3 more times, I might have to send you a jacket.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, I'm
Well, I'm
happy
happy to
for
be
you to
here.
be here. Yeah, in the last episode, we talked about the idea of sales and the home service and cleaning companies. And today, the conversation is all about software, technology, AI, which we season 2 of the show was all on AI. And honestly, I think like AI has changed so much already since we filmed that season that we're going to talk a lot about it on season 4 and like the software conversations too. But I guess tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you got started in this cleaning industry world, and how you've kind of rolled into the technology side of it too. From being a cleaning business owner to now being you own multiple softwares in this space. So tell us a little bit of background if people aren't sure your
Yeah.
path in this world.
So I started my cleaning company. It actually started first as an organizing company in 2014. I was going through a horrible separation, got locked out, kicked out on my butt, and my ex changed the locks, took the kids, and hid everything. Um, And I was just, like, sitting on the curb trying to figure out what to do. We were already separated at that time, but we were supposed to be, like, getting along. Um, and, because I got put in that tough situation, I think that's when innovation happens, right? When your back is up against a wall and you gotta figure it out. Um, is I went to, like, what could I do? I went in just, like, kinda survival mode. And I had a lot of experience in other things, as you introduced me, like working with elephants and performing in front of, not thousands, like 50,000, tens of thousands of people. Um, and then also owning a bar and restaurant as well like in Tampa and Ybor City. Sure, if you've partied in your life, you've been there. Probably don't remember it. um, but as I was sitting on that curb, I was like, "What am I gonna do?" Like, I don't have. All I had were my clothes. And so thought of something fast and I just kind of reacted and, we went into like that organizing mode. I knew how to organize. I'm very systems based. And I found out
Mm.
why I'm very systems based, by the way. Um, I have aphantasia. We could do a whole nother talk on that. Aphantasia means
Yeah, maybe.
I do not have vision or an imagination. I
Interesting.
cannot yeah, I cannot when I close my eyes and you say, "Envision a red apple," I don't see nothing, it's black. When I dream, it's black. I think and dream, envision in a checklist or in a framework. Now we know why I'm so, like, neurotic. Um, and, also feel like I've
Because
been
it's all you
cheated.
know. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also feel like I've been cheated. I'm like, "What am I missing out on? I can't envision my future." Like, it's just writing it down. Um,
Wow.
so, I went into hyper mode and I was like, "Man," and I could organize people's, like, houses, and I had to control my time, had to have flexibility. I had no money to start up, nothing, like, literally nothing. Granted, I got some of it back through the custody battle, but in that moment, I didn't have anything. Um, and and that was 2014. In 2018, I added cleaning, and then we know COVID hit in 2020, and then the cleaning exploded from that. Um, and I saw a gap in our industry when it came to recruiting, and that's how I started Woot Recruit because I couldn't hire fast enough. It took too much time. And then
Mm.
I had my friends test it; they loved it. And that became Woot Recruit. And then we started Sell Convert Clean. I actually bought the code to launch Sell Convert Clean, and we bought code that we didn't even know how to read. I had to
Mhm.
hire someone to come in to help us understand the code, which is kind of risky, but, when you have a dream and you're an entrepreneur, you do stupid shit. I don't know if I can cuss. Um,
Sure.
to feel alive. I think we're like adrenaline junkies and we like to find the things that make us excited. Um That's how Self Convert Clean came along, and Self Convert Clean focuses on giving cleaning industry the confidence to quote or bid a job consistently every time, whether it's them or their office.
I love it. Very cool. And Woot Recruit is the recruiting software.
Yes.
Sell Convert Clean is the one you just talked about.
Yes.
I love it. Very cool. Yeah, you've had quite the story, quite the Avenger adventure, and I love hearing about it every time. So let's talk about let's set the scene of it is 2025. Technology is
I'm like, "This right
no
now."
longer something. Yeah, we're setting the scene. Like right now, it's 2025. Technology is no longer something that's optional for any sort of small business owner. But I'm curious, like, what's one major shift that you've maybe noticed in how cleaning companies are using technology in the last 12 to 18 months? What are you seeing that maybe you didn't see before those things?
Um, I am seeing a lot of all-in-one solutions really in our industry. Um, and I think it has its pro and its con, but as technology becomes easier and easier to create, right? We're using literally AI to read code now and to help us
Mm.
create new code in a complete foreign language that we don't even understand. Um, and I'm not doing. I'm watching my team do it. Um, but we're seeing a lot of all-in-one solutions spin up. A lot of white labels. So I think it's changed a lot in that aspect. I think we also it's become very competitive because anyone can now be a software owner with the drag and drop,
Mm.
builders. Windsurf, I think, is one, and Bubble is another one. Um, where in the past you needed like 100 grand just to start. Like, let me go find a developer offshore somewhere and sink $100,000 in just to get started. Um, And so we're seeing that shift now where it's a lot more competitive. A lot of people with no names or faces are selling all these all-in-one solutions. And I think it's for the smaller business owner, it's creating a lot of confusion. I think I'm calling it like the new multi-level marketing era where we and so I can just go on for days with this because I'm sitting back here as a cleaning company owner getting solicited by these people, and I also own a software. So I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
interesting. They're like, we did blah 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 for a cleaning company and blah blah blah. That's great. I know her. She's my friend. I'm gonna ask her how that worked. I'm just like, that's how I respond to the emails. Um, so and it's interesting because, I think it's causing, some confusion when you're a smaller company and you're looking for help. You're looking for tech to take the weight off, but to be honest, if you don't choose the right tech, you're actually making it much harder than it probably needs to be. But, we're just seeing a ton of spin-ups, like spin-offs of all-in-ones. We can do everything. Make your website, do this, do that, like workflows, automations. We're your all-in-one CRM. Versus like if you go and look at some of the older, um, especially in cleaning, there weren't typically all-in-one solutions, and they had that superpower, like that one thing they were really good at, versus claiming they were good at everything.
How are you seeing, because you're right, we're all inclusive, we're your all in one this, and everybody says we use AI for X, Y, and Z, right? And never actually really explain how they're using AI, which we'll get to that. But like, how are you seeing business owners respond to that? Because we have gone through a not the best economical time within that last 12 to 18 months. Like we survived another election in this country. Economically, it's been up and down a lot for people. So we're probably spending less and less freely on softwares when they're popping up. But how are you seeing people in your network respond to this new wave of technologies?
Well, I think they're confused, and I think, their response is, um, they're seeking it like, they're seeking people are seeking more referrals and insight from other industry friends because
Mm,
of the confusion or because of them being burnt by another software company that tied them into a contract or stole their website. That's not a software, but some softwares are doing that. Or like, hey, the software went down and I couldn't function for 3 months, like,
mm.
or 3 weeks. There was a very popular software in the cleaning industry that went down. Like, I mean, I felt for the software company, but then I felt for the cleaning business owners on the other side that couldn't even operate, and they were losing thousands of dollars a day. And so, I think from an industry standpoint, I know this from being in mastermind groups, is that they're seeking more, advice from their peers. Like, "Hey, what are you using? Hey, can you refer something? What do you like?" Um, versus, just not, like, buying stuff without, without some sort of almost like reference check or referral.
Interesting. That's fascinating point because I think, yeah, just the idea of, I don't know, home services as a whole, right, is a niche community of its own. But one thing I've loved about learning about home service is that there's like these sub communities within these sub niche industries of home service, right? And you're right, like they're getting tighter and tighter and tighter, which can provide just so much value to the average like cleaning business owner or pressure washing company owner,
Mhm.
window cleaning, like lawn and landscape, right? Because like the industry as a whole, like there is no reason to be uneducated as like a home service business owner these days, right? Because there's so many communities. So how are you seeing tech companies respond to that? I know a lot of tech softwares in the cleaning space, they have their own Facebook groups. They're
Yeah.
creating their own masterminds. But like what have you seen maybe some creative responses to that like type of mindset where it is so much more community, it is referral based. Um, Rather than it's a new shiny object, let me sign up for this new software, right? Like we're researching these shiny objects more.
Yeah, I think we're researching these shiny objects more. The one thing I have seen, and this is actually across, almost all softwares, like all industries when it comes to softwares, um, because I am in the software world and I had the benefit of being in, like SaaS Academy, some software mastermind groups and being friends with software owners. Um, and we do this in one of our softwares as well, is adding the coaching element is included with the software. Um,
Mm.
and so we see that happening, and I see it with, that's how some of the bigger softwares are kind of getting around that, or like you said, creating that Facebook group or having that community, or giving that element of like, we're not just your CRM, we're also like, y- we're going to give you a monthly coaching call of how to price and how to use the software
Mm.
correctly. And so there's a lot more, they're giving a lot more so they can get that buy-in and build that trust, I think. I mean, some
100%. Yeah.
yeah, and that's a really popular thing I see, right, besides the Facebook groups is, adding that coaching element, whether they call it coaching, teaching, training,
Yeah.
you name it, it's really popular. It's been really popular for the last year or 2, and I think with faceless softwares now, because like I said,
Mhm.
it's the new multi-level marketing scheme. Um, with faceless softwares, people are more inclined to sign up when there is that support element around it.
Yeah, because I mean, we've all been there too, where you sign up for a software, whether it's a trial or we go all in and buy whatever it is, and then we get in there and we're overwhelmed, right?
Mhm,
But like, wait, where do I go? How do I click? Where is like the FAQs that I could look up, get some answers? So having that like personal concierge approach as like a tech company is becoming more and more popular. Or we could take it, I think like what you're referencing, I think House Call Pro was one of the first to do this, but they acquired that Conquer coaching group
mhm.
and they kind of melted that Conquer into their company, right? Which we're actually having Roland. He'll be a guest on this season from House Call Pro, so I'm excited to have him on and talk all the same type of stuff we're talking right now. But you're right; it's software is no longer just software, right? Because I think it's so saturated as well that you had to start doing things to set yourself apart. Like, no longer are the days you can just have a 7-day trial or a 30-day trial and, like, hope it works, right? Because other companies around you have set that bar. We're like, "Yeah, we do this on top of this. We have this group. We have a private Facebook group. We have a coaching group," all those things that you were talking about.
Yeah, and I think with software, I think people have this far-fetched idea that they're gonna create a software and it's gonna be all this recurring revenue with no work, right? Because the
Yeah.
software is exponential, in a certain at a certain degree, it's exponential that which means I can keep selling without adding overhead or COGS.
Yeah.
Um, and that's so it's exponential when you're comparing it to residential cleaning, right? Residential cleaning is linear. If I want more money, I have to hire more people and I have to sell more jobs. Um, but I think a lot of people have this like notion about software in their head that it's easy. Like I'm just going to get signups. But oh my god, like software has some of the worst churn that you've ever seen in your life. Especially, if you're a very low investment software, which means I don't have to give a lot of time setting up
Mhm.
like setting it up like a Zoom. Like Zoom, you sign up and you can just click in and go. If I don't like it, I'm going to cancel. So where if, you came from another industry, you're not battling churn as bad as you are in software, right? And it's very competitive. A lot of people and I'm a little biased, like, I'm not gonna lie, I get solicited all the time from people to, like, sign up for their cleaning software, and they don't know anything about cleaning because you can tell by the way the verbiage or the
Mhm.
software was created. Um, and so they're gonna churn people out faster. Um And so I think, those are great advantages, and then, then the far-fetched dream too with software owners is you're gonna sell for multiples, right?
Mm.
You're like, "I'm gonna sell for a multiple of," and those multiples, you don't see those much anymore. Um, but, it's competitive, but then the other thing too on software is if your software doesn't have a face or you're buying a faceless software, that's something to ask yourself from a consumer standpoint and also from a software owner standpoint. You just said you had Kurt on the other day, uh,
Mhm.
from Responsibility. Great guy, like, super smart, super, like, just great person, and that personality, that, like, genuineness he has is
Yeah.
everything that's backing that software, and so as a consumer, also look at that, like, if you're considering a software for your any business, who cares what it is, did that did it was it created by an industry leader to really fill a gap? Do they understand it? Service Autopilot was another one that I liked because it was created by a home service owner. Made Central, the same thing, created by, like, a cleaning company. I think Omar from ZenMaid as well did cleaning. Um,
He'll be on an episode this season too.
yeah. So look at those when you're a consumer versus, like, buying something that they think that that developer thinks they're fixing a problem you might not even have because they don't even know the industry.
So very true. And honestly, a quick glance back. If you haven't listened to Kurt's episode, please go do. But there was a moment, like in his bio, even I talked about how like that guy is a like user first tech company. Like nothing gets made, nothing gets created, features or functionality for responsibility if it's not for like the end user in mind, right? And like then if you know Kurt, that's him, right? Like he is like selfless. He just wants to help. He's like the most generous, kind guy. And it just makes sense. But he also, like you said, he started in a home service company too. He had like an exterior, pressure washing company. So like he just knows it. And I think a part of that too, we're talking about these tight knit communities, whether they're online or they're in person masterminds, cleaning business owners know industry language and jargon and terminology better than ever because I mean, we're not far away from you could own a cleaning company in, I don't know, Fargo, North Dakota and never meet another person who owns another cleaning company. Like that was like the realistic life for like a cleaning business owner not too long ago, right? There were no opportunities online for networking. There were no opportunities in person for networking and you just kind of had to figure it out. But since we are in such a world where you can be in these tight-knit communities, you're hearing language, you're hearing terminology, you're hearing, jargon of the industry that you know it so well. So when you meet somebody who doesn't know it, it's very easy to tell that they're not being genuine, right? But like if that Fargo, North Dakota example, it was probably easier to sell to that person because like they probably didn't even know industry language because they weren't in enough circles to know that language to begin with. So it's more tight knit. It's becoming more and more niche. I mean, we're seeing that obviously in like the marketing agency world too, right? We are all in with cleaning companies. But like it is really rare to find a marketing agency these days that doesn't have like maybe max 3 industry niches that they work most in, right? Because it's that same thing. It's that same, idea that you're talking about. It's becoming more tight knit. It's becoming more and more community based, and that's where people are seeing success.
Yeah. And, for the user standpoint, cheaper isn't always better
Mhm.
when it comes to software. Like, I know we're always trying to save a penny but cheaper isn't always better in anything, but especially in software, because if it's too cheap, it's too good to be true. Like, if it's too cheap, it's because by the time you actually pay for, like, real developers and you have a CTO and you're producing a real software, like a real SaaS company, it can't be cheap.
Mhm.
It really can't be that
Yep.
cheap.
'Cause it's gotta be great because the market is so saturated, like mediocre softwares, it's not gonna work. You have to
Mhm.
have, like, something that's a really good product. Alright, I wanna get into so we talked about, I don't know, we set the scene, right? We're talking about the world that we're living in currently, but, one thing I love about what you do is like I said, you were in that home ownership or a home service ownership role and tech world. So like you're really on the ground and you really have had like this front row seat as yourself, but also how other cleaning companies are using technology. What are the smartest things? And maybe you can drop some names if you want. Feel free to drop yours if you fit into this. But like, what are some of the smartest companies out there doing right now when it comes to technology, automation, AI, this whole like world that we're in? What are some things that you're seeing that you're impressed with?
Um, as far as, some of the things I'm seeing and some of the things we're doing too internally, whether it's even in my software company or my cleaning company, um, using AI to really help speed up the back end, which means to help your office team using software to create, like, efficiency for the office, for the cleaners, helping the cleaners kind of get that job done from a tech standpoint of delivering that content, like, to their at the palm of their hands. I swear to God, like, the next thing I'm gonna make is, like, virtual they can scan the room with their phone, it's gonna tell them how to clean it. Like, I told Chris I wanna make
Mhm,
that. Because that whole training battle and people that's never gonna go away, but using AI on the back end to really help create efficient teams. So if your team is still doing things like manually that are repetitive, so you have your standard SOPs. We call them SAPs, standard automated procedure, SAPs. What
Mm,
can we automate so that we can give time back to our office staff to do the manual things that people care about, like handwrite a note or pick up the phone and actually have a conversation? Um, so that is some of the things I see some really great companies doing on the back end with tech or AI is using it not from a customer standpoint, like don't let the AI answer your phone. For the love of God, we pay too much money
mm,
for the phone calls. Please have a real person answer the phone, but use that AI or tech on the back end to help speed up their daily tasks or to-dos or some of the things that people don't see. Don't take the human out of like service companies interacting with your customers or even your recruiting. Like I see some recruiting companies using AI phone calls to screen employees. Do you really think that employee is gonna really have like, that is not a great first impression for the but you can
mm.
automate or use tech to speed up vetting applications or looking at resumes or scheduling things, not interacting with them. So I see a lot of companies using it better on the back end, which they can then create a better front end experience because it's all about the customer or employee experience.
Love that. It's very cool. And then let's talk about the flip side. I mean, we talked about a few things like using AI voice maybe in situations where you shouldn't. But where are you seeing common tech mistakes that you're seeing, cleaning business owners trying to make when they're trying to grow or simplify or just like, I don't know, we get into this and I feel like websites honestly were like this way back in the day.
I got
You would
my
ask somebody,
notes.
why do you have a website? And they said, because I need a website. And like that was their answer to it. So now I feel like we could change that. Like, why do you have AI? Because someone told me I needed it. And like they don't have like a clear actual reason of what they're doing. And they're just going with the trends and they're just like waving in the ocean and the waves of technology that are coming. But what are some things like common mistakes you're seeing cleaning business owners making as we're all just sitting in this ocean of technology and change and like where should they be going? Where shouldn't they be going? What are some mistakes you're seeing?
Okay, I'm writing notes because I could go on forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
the first one is, mistakes I see happening is they're buying too much software. Software isn't the solution to your problem. You're buying too much
Mm,
software, and so from a peer standpoint, be careful always just referring a whole bunch of software because then blindly our peers go buy it, right? But they don't know the context of why we needed it, how we set it up. Um, and so we have shiny object syndrome. And I did this when I first started. I bought a software to solve every one of my problems, even problems I didn't have,
mm,
because a friend recommended something and it looked cool. Um, and then I was buying software that, like, my CRM already did, but I didn't like the way it did it, so I bought another software, and I added so many layers of complexity to my office and the way it ran that we couldn't even grow. It was the bottleneck of the office, which was tech.
mm.
And so
Which is
I
the exact opposite of the purpose of it all is to help with bottlenecks, and it became the bottleneck itself.
yes. So it becomes a bottleneck, and you can't scale past about 1.5 million to 2 millions unless you start to simplify your software and you start to actually take your tech stack down a little bit because our tech stacks tend to just, like, keep growing as we're looking for solutions and things and, like, "How do I fix this?" And so the first thing I wanna say is this comes from all of my experience coaching, owning softwares, systems-based, is you cannot buy a software to, like, fix your problem. It goes chaos, order, then automate, right?
Mm,
You if you're just gonna go buy a software and you wanna automate your stuff, you're gonna automate the chaos. Like, you're just amplifying the chaos if you're taking a bad or broken system and then putting it on tech. And then they wonder why they still have issues or complaints or problems and turnover, like so first, I recommend the mistake is everyone wants to skip the old-fashioned I'm gonna grab the old-fashioned paper, and I hate paper. Um, but you have to actually write your process down. Like, what are your steps? What's the process? What are the steps? Give it to your office and say, "Hey, I need you to try this and tell me what needs to be modified. Did it work? Do you like it? Great. Let's go find a software now that will help us automate this." Typically, it
Mm.
goes the other way. They're like, "Let's go find a software. I need to automate my workflows." Then they go and they don't like the software. They complain about the software. It doesn't work the way they wanted. It doesn't do what they want. Well, that's because they just went and bought it first versus create your process, proof of concept. The process worked. Great. We refined it. Now let's go find the technology that will deliver it the way we want it. And now go find the tech to automate it.
Love it. From the mouth of a multi-tech business owner, you're buying too much software.
You're
Stop.
buying too much software. And
You're buying too much.
you're buying too much and you run to the software first for your solution when in fact we have to create our process first.
Makes sense. And then how does that software fit into the process to
Yes, and
automate?
that's why so many people get pissed. Well, ClickUp doesn't do this and Trello doesn't do that. Well, you didn't create your process first, so you don't even know what you need in a software.
Yeah, makes so much sense. Love it. Okay, let's talk about your role and your company's role in this very tech-heavy world we're living in. How have your companies maybe evolved in the last few years to meet these ever-changing demands of, your customers, of industries, things like that? I mean, like, dear me, what a whirlwind you probably went through when AI and ChatGPT came out because you're like, well, first of all, like I own a cleaning business. How the heck am I going to be using this? But also, like AI is going to drastically change my software companies too. So, like, how have your companies evolved and stayed with these trends and changes that are just keep hitting us in the face?
So I had the benefit of being in Dan Martell's group, and so we got a sneak peek at, ChatGPT OpenAI before it was actually public. And so we got educated on it, and I gave like, instantly, I told my cleaning team, not even my recruiting software team, "Guys, you gotta sign up for this right now." Like,
Mhm.
so we kinda had a front row seat of it rolling out and learning about it and what was it gonna do and how it was gonna it didn't just hit. So I was I'm grateful to have had that experience. Um, how's it changed my role? Or at least just even the roles in the company. I would say I'm kinda like with Cody Sanchez on this one. Everybody's chasing AI, and I'm kinda like, AI is great, and it can help us do our job faster, but I think people are missing, like, some really great opportunities to just deliver a great freaking service. Like, just do a really great cleaning.
Mm.
Um, AI to me is great, and it's amazing. I use it every day, but it is not gonna be the all and be all. It's just Um, I still think there's a ton of power in a phone call from a human in doing a great service. Home service is gonna be here probably for the longest. And everybody asks me, "Why do I keep my cleaning company?" Actually, we just we're I'm dropping something big with, Organize It, like, giant, soon. Um, and I'm like, I would never sell it because my softwares can become obsolete tomorrow.
Mm.
But cleaning, it's gonna take years for that robot to clean somebody's
Yeah.
house properly and fold down their bed the exact way they want it. And, like, it's gonna take years. And so as far as how it's changed it, for my role, I thought I needed to keep up with it, and so I was actually personally trying to keep up with it, and there's no way, literally no way to keep up with the changes. Um, we do it now more from a company standpoint. We have, it's Tech Tuesdays, um, and we encourage our all of our team to take an hour off and research AI and
Oh wow.
how it can help them improve in their own role or with the company, from a company standpoint. And then we have a chat thread in it, and then they drop, like, what they learned, what they researched. And so I kind of handed that off. At first, I thought I needed to keep up with it, and then I've handed it off and made it a funner thing to encourage the team. They need to learn it and use it, um, to really help influence their like, what not necessarily keep their job because that's kind of a mean thing to say, but help them do a better job at their job.
Mm.
Um, the other
Well,
thing that's
there's
changed.
that phrase, people are I mean, not everybody's gonna lose their job due to AI, but you might lose your job to someone who knows how to speak and knows the language of AI.
Well, that's why
Like the
everyone we interview, we ask now in our cleaning office, and I mean, I gave a ISSA presentation. I got in an argument with this young tech founder on stage. I was on a panel, and I said, "It's gonna flatten the org chart, and going forward, if you don't know AI, you can't work here." And he got so offended. He got so offended.
mm,
But I'm like, "That is going to be the new tool. It's not gonna replace people, it's gonna help people be faster, more efficient." Well, it's gonna replace some people, but and I said, "If you don't know it, it's like no, it's like saying I don't know how to talk on the phone." Well, then you can't work in sales if you don't know how to talk on the phone.
yeah. Or I don't know Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, like that kind
Yeah,
of thing. And yeah, the same conversations happen with different softwares. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so that's kind of how we see it, in Sell Convert Clean, we're very AI heavy and helping us read code, find bugs, rebuild code, to create new features. We use AI a lot to create, like a proof of concept, like test modes, so we can see if do we like it before we go in and actually start building something.
Mhm.
Because it helps speed up time tremendously. And I also find, like, with AI, you need less coders, obviously. You kinda, like, need a lead coder who can then use AI to, like, deploy little, army
Yeah.
bots. Mhm.
So there's a lot of things you're talking about. You've implemented AI and things like that on the back end. Is there anything in the front end of your softwares that like users are maybe they don't even realize it yet, but like has AI been implemented on like the front end of softwares yet?
So, we use a few, pieces, but, nothing major, just, like, something that helps with a search functionality, but nothing where they think they're talking to a person. Um, so we're using it mainly on the back end versus the front end. So we use it lightly, but it's mainly for, like, search function, um, and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, love it.
I don't
Um,
trust it. I've tried it,
okay, let's
and
talk about that.
it hallucinates. It is horrible with math, and it is horrible with dates.
Okay.
Um, and we've tried it for WooRecruit, using it customer facing, and so AI cannot really tell the difference between, like, sarcasm or joke
Mm.
or question or, like or slang sometimes.
Well, I mean, it's the EQ of
Yeah.
things, right? Like
Yeah.
it struggles with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Love it. I don't trust it, she says. Love it.
Well, I don't
Um,
trust it to handle my customers' questions or
yeah.
issues.
Trust it for code, just not human interactions yet. Do you well, let's talk about that then, because that's a hot topic in general with AI is I mean, yeah, I know you voiced your opinion of like AI voice for phone calls and things like that. Do you ever see it getting to a point where AI is smart enough to be able to play those kind of roles in a way that's like up to par? Or do you think that is a specific type of role that like humans got it? We don't need to worry about it. Like, where do you see AI, like, capping out, basically?
So I do think it will be smart enough to be able to have that conversation and understand inflection and sarcasm and certain things like that. But what I think it will always lack on is connection, like human connection, because it's not human, it's a machine. And so I think that's your competitive advantage, um, and so this is a good topic for even the coaching industry. A lot of coaches some coaches, they're like, "What's the benefit if I can just ask AI now coaching techniques or how to price a job, how to do this, how do I" and so the benefit of coaching, I just posted something about this the other day, is like I'm doing something and I think it's gonna I wanna flip it on upside down coaching. Because I think AI and tech is really gonna influence, like, coaching groups, mastermind groups, um,
Yep.
because if I can go get that content from AI, why do I need that group? You need that group for the connection.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the conversation, in our AI season, I had a call with or Jonathan Mast, who's a friend of mine, AI expert, as much as you can be an AI expert, right? Because it's changing all the time. But we talked about like how AI is going to could drastically change that coaching world
Mhm.
because what is stopping someone, a coach or a consultant or something like that, teaching an AI LMM everything it knows? All right. And then you sell a custom GPT where somebody could interact with it. And it's like you have that coach, but it's a bot, right? It is a bot acting as that coach. So fascinating what that could look like in the future. And honestly, we went down like many rabbit holes of what that could be um like
And
implemented into like personality wise and things like that. But we do need that human connection.
yeah, and I think that human connection is what will set you apart in your business. So don't ever, like, get rid of your CSM or your customer success or customer support or, um because that's what's gonna set you apart right now, is a really great interaction with a customer. It builds trust, in a world where people are, like, losing trust.
Mm, very true. So you mentioned that you have implemented AI a lot into the back end of your cleaning company, organize it. Maybe like some how so? What tasks have you maybe eliminated? What have you seen like the AI has worked out really well in the back end of your cleaning company? And my follow-up to all of this, how has your staff responded? Because the conversation of technology and AI for like a human staff, sometimes it can be an intimidating conversation. Like, oh my gosh, she's training us how to use this and like it's gonna take my job away. So how did you like navigate that as well as you're like implementing these AI and technology strategies, but also like letting your staff know, like, hey, I still want you here. I still believe in that human connection. We still need that human connection. Don't worry. So, like, I guess two parts. First is what have you implemented on the back end that you've seen like just great success from? And then also, how did your staff respond to it?
Yeah, so a few things, email follow-up, um, you wanna you wanna answer that complaint or that bad review or even that good review, and you don't like, you struggle with the words, so, we use a lot of it for, text communication with customers, um, and we use a lot in helping us write emails for, like, our, communicating, any promos that maybe the company's doing, um so we use a lot in that aspect as well. I'm trying to think what else we use AI for. We use it a ton. Well, my own companies use my own softwares, so
Mhm.
there's that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I really helping speed up the process. Also, in the way I got my team on board was literally learning it with them. So when I was learning about it, I was sharing it
Mm,
with them. I was excited about it, and I said, "This is gonna help make your job easier, and I need you to sign up for it." Um, and so we did, like, preload some stuff in their accounts so that the AI learns the company, they know the vision, they know our language and how we speak so that it's just not writing random, like, answers to complaints.
mhm.
Um, so, you know, learning it with them, showing them that you're excited, like, this is gonna help us versus replace them. And my mom, she's like, I don't know, 62, 63 years old, and she uses AI every day. She loves it. She's like, "Libby, I am never gonna not like, this saved my life." She just, like she talk and I
Love
always
it.
encourage the team, talk to it versus type it because you're gonna talk
Sure.
in a different tone versus if I type it, you're gonna skip some words, you're not gonna type in the way you speak. And, so that's really helped them, with communication, getting ready for meetings, so we use it a lot to, like, for our quarterly meetings, um, prepping for that meeting. All of our meetings are transcribed. I have a little AI that
Yep.
follows me around so that the team gets that recap, with the to-dos, so the to-dos are, like, automatically captured. Nobody needs to transcribe. Everyone can pay attention now, during a meeting, so we use them in our meetings. Um so, I mean, just learning it with them and showing, like, the excitement that you have and encouraging them to lean into it. And then again, we have, like, that Tech Tuesday where we all use it as a whole and say, like, "I read this article this week that it can do blah, blah, blah." Or, "I
Mm,
used it this week to help me, respond to Google." reviews so that it ups our ranking because Google reviews, the response contributes to SEO supposedly. And so how do I respond to a Google review? Like, so that it,
Sure.
say Fort Myers in it. Um, so, using it in those ways has really helped my team. They love it. They use it all the time. And that's just in the cleaning company.
I love that you learned alongside him too. I think that probably helped with that, the ego hit that that possibly could be, but like you were right alongside them and said like, "Hey, we're going to learn this together because," and that shows like it's not just, "Hey, here's another tool I want you guys to use." Like, no, I'm all in on this too as the owner. Like I'm all in on this. We're going to learn it together and see how we can use it to better the company. Let's talk about your leadership in the industry. How do you personally stay ahead of the curve,
Mm.
that is constantly changing, right? Stay ahead of that curve as a tech leader in like a very real world, physical, hands dirty industry. Like what are some like rhythms or rituals that you have to like really try to stay ahead of that curve so you can help lead your team better, build better products, and have like a better service for customers?
So from a tech standpoint, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. What is the thing I'm doing? So I'd never owned a software before. Um, and when I first launched Woot Recruit, I immediately looked for a mentor and I found Dan Martell before he was super famous. Um, and the way I stay kind of ahead of that curve is I'm very involved in, making sure I have a mastermind group or a mentor or a coach. So I recently have like left one mastermind group, software mastermind, and I decided to now retain an one-on-one coach um, to up level me for like next level. They're software specific, so I make sure I have like industry specific coaches, mentors, mastermind groups, and then I have like some general ones. Um, but just like we like industry specific Facebook groups to learn, I think you need industry specific mentors or masterminds. That way you're
Sure.
in the room with those peers and you kind of can stay ahead of it, what's going on. And then like, it's slow and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? And then everybody else says it. You're like, okay, it's not just me. um, so doing those things and like to be honest, I mean, I learned some great stuff from, um, from Dan, and I really focus on my mind and my health and my body and working out and what I eat, which is not related to software at all, but it's related to how I show up, how I lead the team. Um, it directly correlates with your, like, your ability to retain information, remember information, the level of confidence you have when you show up. Um, and then I think lastly, that I didn't used to do that I do now is I don't try to figure it out. Um, I go and hire, um, that solution.
Mm.
Before I would try to figure it out and I needed to learn it. This last software, Sell Convert Clean, I mean, I bought code for a pretty penny and I didn't even need to know how to read it. The old version of me would have not trusted, need to understand it, let me go learn it versus bought it and I immediately went to look for someone that knew how to read it and work with it. And, um, I've gotten better as a leader, especially in tech, um, to learn how to go out and find that person that's my solution to get to the next level because it's not me.
I love that. So it's finding the right people and finding the right rooms,
Yeah.
you know? I love that. Very cool. Well, hey, something I want to do because you've dropped insane value in this conversation for people in the cleaning industry that are overwhelmed by tech, confused by tech. I think that was one of the first things you said is people are just confused. And I mean, rightfully so at the speed that everything is running right now. And I don't know, you've dropped so much value in here. I want to give you the opportunity. Give me your 30, and you've got 2 companies, so maybe I'll give you 60 seconds. Give me your elevator speech for your technology companies, for people that want to maybe learn more about what you're doing and what solutions your software solve, or what
Sure.
questions and problems that your software solve.
Sure. So with Woo Recruit, we do recruiting for W-2 entry level employees. We do it for hundreds of cleaning, residential, commercial, and, we also do a lot of other frontline labor like roofing, gutters, lawn care, landscaping, and it's like the Uber of hiring. You turn it on and you have applicants show up at your door, ready for you to interview so that you don't have to focus on posting on Indeed, um, looking at applications and resumes and scheduling interviews for the industry right now has like a 15% show rate for interviews. I know this because 'cause
Wow.
we've had over 2,000,000 applications, since last May with a 15% show rate. Now there's some good ones in there that have like a 50% show rate, and there's some really bad ones, got like a 5. The average is 15. So you have to understand how much time are you spending for a 15% show rate right now? And we can automate all of that for you. Um, and cheaper than outsourcing it to a VA. And then as far as Cell Convert Clean goes, it's a baby of a product, and, we're super excited for it because it's gonna be large. And right now what it is, it's to me, it's the world's fastest quoting tool. So if you need help
Mm,
pricing your residential cleaning, right now we're focused only on residential, commercial is coming later. Um, it is the world's fastest tool to help you price accurately every time with confidence, whether it's you or your office staff. Um, and I was just on another AI panel today and or podcast, and they had asked me what was something you discovered. I discovered I bought Sell Convert Clean the code, and we thought it was going to be like an online quoting tool for the consumer, but we actually found that the power is the tool for the office because they struggle
mm,
so much with pricing. They don't know how to price, and it's speed to lead, but that lead needs a price.
mm. Very true. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for being here. Honestly, every time we get to talk, it's a good time and it's a powerful conversation. So just thank you. Before we wrap up, where's the best place for listeners to connect with you or learn more about what you're building at both of your companies? Actually, all of your companies.
Awesome. So I'm the only Libby DeLucien in the world. That's how famous I am or special.
I love that. Yeah.
So you can go to libbydelucien.com. If you can't spell DeLucien, you can go to libbyd.com.
Love that. Very cool. Hey, well, everybody watching or listening, thank you so much for being a part of this episode and listening. And if you found something helpful in this episode, which as long as your volume was up, I'm sure you did, share it with a cleaning business owner who's trying to make sense of this crazy world of technology that we live in, and just this crazy world of owning and operating a business. A lot of times that we're talking about, like that cleaning business owner in Fargo, North Dakota, who might not have anybody else in their industry that they can connect to. Maybe this podcast can be a part of that where you share some knowledge with them and they level up because we all know like when cleaning businesses level up, the industry levels up as a whole. So because I mean, remember, it's not just about the tech itself, it's about how you use it to simplify, scale, and serve your clients and customers better. Libby, thanks for being here. Thank you guys
Thank you
for
for having
listening.
me.
We'll see you next time.